Hi, this is Nico from Tydops. I wanted to quickly summarize briefly a couple of steps that I went through and demonstrated on one of the live workshops, how I work with YouTube content. That could be interviews, talks, lectures, that kind of stuff. Because, there's lots of interesting stuff and you want to maybe learn something from it or use it as part of your research. So these are all the steps. Let me uncheck these boxes. These are all the steps or options, and I'm going to try to be concise and just give you the basic rundown. So my example is this interview here with Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic. I listened to the interview. There was an interesting concept in it that I wanted to write about, which he called the race to the top. So I'm going to take you through the process of how I got everything. First, we always need, this is what we're going to do, we always need text, right? Text is what the large language models, the AI assistants, can most easily work with. And if it's audio, they got to translate it into text anyways. So we got to get an audio file. Could be an MP3, could be some other format, but the audio file. Maybe you have a YouTube subscription where you can get the audio file. If you don't, there are a bunch of free services. You can do a Google search or a Perplexity search for YouTube audio download, something like that. There are a bunch of services that are going to bombard you with ads and some stuff to basically pay for the service. What they're using and what you could also be using under the hood is probably this tool over here, which is called YTDL, or this one is now an updated version, YTDLP. And I cannot remember this kind of stuff. This is for the command line, but with the help of an AI assistant, of course, I can at least say, this is where I'm always sort of like expanding what I can do. I'm like, I know I can get the audio with this command line tool. What do I need to put in? And it just gives me this formula. I don't need to specify the exact bit rate or stuff, which I'm doing down here more accurately. Just put in the YouTube file, open the terminal, you get the MP3. Now, once you have the MP3, let's get that out of the way again. However you acquire the audio file, you could even, record it on your phone or something like that. So we have the audio file. Now we want to transcribe it, and I'm using an iOS app. iOS, iPad also works on Macs if you have a newer version called Whisperboard. And Whisperboard looks a little bit strange on the Mac because it's made for smaller screens, but it looks like this, and you can put in an interview. Here's the one with Dario, and it transcribes it. This is using the small OpenAI Whisper model. So this is basically the fastest and not the most accurate, but pretty accurate. It's already pretty good. It understands things like "in good company" is, from the audio, it understands that's the title of the show or the podcast, etc., etc. Now you can see it's still it's just text, right? So at that point, we have text, and we take that text, and I put all of that over into Claude. Here, I paste it in, and I say, clean up this transcript, fix any typos. This is the name of the speaker. I did not know the interviewer. It doesn't matter. It just calls him then the interviewer. And I say they talk about Claude. I want to add some section headings, and I always give it the option to ask me any questions if any terminology is completely unclear. Sometimes it has questions, and I'm going to answer them. And then it gives me, usually Claude will give you a sample. It's quite nice that way. And then I said, okay, give me the full transcript, give me a markdown file, because I want to put it over here into Notion. And then it starts generating that, and you're going to see when you have files or when you have that much text, it's going to run into, as you can see here, its maximum length limits, and I just tell it continue, and it does that. It creates a little bit of an overlap. It's very nice to work with, and then I stitch it all together after I have all of the parts, I get this, the interview with, let me move myself out of the way. I get this, the interview with Dario Amodei, and get the introduction. I get these headings, latest breakthroughs, understanding AI models, and I can see who's speaking. The interviewer is asking the question, Dario is giving the answers. That's pretty cool. So now we have done the transcription. Transcription takes about 10 minutes or so. We have cleaned it up and formatted it with the help of an AI assistant. Now we can create an optional summary. Oh, let me try that again. I think this is this one. So now I'm using the output. Let me get to the beginning of this. Now I'm using the output, and I'm saying this is the interview. You might be familiar with the company. Can you please summarize this for me, highlight the key ideas and arguments, right? Because now I want to understand about the concept. Sometimes these things are so complex. Maybe it's a lecture about something that I'm not familiar with that I want to maybe ask contextual questions later, something like that. So I get a summary. I don't restrict the summary, giving it any particular format. I just leave that up to basically Claude's discretion. And I also, in this case, asked whether there are any parts of the interview that would make a good visualization as a like additional question. And lo and behold, first of all we have sorry, let me try that again. We have the summary down here. So then it gives me the summary, and then it gave me, it said there's a couple of things that it could visualize. One of them would be the idea of the race to the top. And that's the concept that I was interested in. So it gave me this basic visualization, which it all put into the context of AI developments, because that was what Dario is talking about. And I said, can you generalize the race to the top thing? And it did. So then it gave me like a slightly modified version of this. Let's come back. How far did we get? Okay, now we have the optional summary. We created a visual. And now I wanted to talk about chapter marks. Chapter marks, maybe there's a better way, but what I do is I go to the interview, you open up the description, there's a button to show the transcript, which is not as good as the transcription that you get from Whisperboard, but it's also good, and you can click on it and it takes you to the exact point in the video. Now you can get the full captions file as well. You can download that from YouTube, but it's in a weird format. I'm not going to use that. But you can use this. I just basically highlight everything, copy that over, give it to Claude, and tell it to create the chapter marks. I have an example over here. Put the entire thing in. These are the captions. Use this format. Sometimes it does a slightly different format, but it should know. And then it gives you something like this. This isn't about this video, this is another one, but it gives you the chapter marks. If you are the creator of that video, you can use the chapter marks, put them in the description, and that is great for usability, accessibility, and also for the Google algorithm. So I hope that was useful. If you're interested in any of the small steps that I mentioned that I didn't explain, please just hit me up with a message and come see me in one of the weekly AI Solutions Lab workshops. They are free, and I'd love to work on some problems or some things that you do and have to do, some workflows, and then we have everything checked off. See you next time.